What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Daryl D TV Story Time. I was just reminiscing about some of the concerts I've been to and some of the really memorable concerts that I've been to, and I wanted to tell you guys about the first and only time that I got to see James Brown. Um, this was 2006, if I'm not mistaken, and it was the last time James Brown performed in Arizona. It was in Sun City at this dome like Coliseum or whatever, and man, it was a super cool show. I remember me and my homeboy Chino D, we we went, he and his wife and myself, we rolled up to the show. And the thing I remember first is when we pulled into the venue, or pulled into the parking lot. I just remember it was a huge parking lot, and there was like plenty of parking. It was like no huge chaos and traffic or anything. Like, you literally pulled into the parking lot, just pulled into pretty much any space you wanted. That was available with no hassles. There wasn't a lot of crowding or anything. It was very different from like a traditional concert where it's just all this chaos, especially when it comes to parking. I thought that was pretty weird. So we pulled in there and we get out, and it's not loud. There's not you don't see like tons of people walking around or anything. It was just very mild and very, subtle. And we walked right into the venue. There was no waiting or anything. We walked right in, and then you go into this lobby. I almost think it was called like the Silver Dome or something like that, but it's in Sun City, Wisconsin, or Sun City, Arizona, about 20 minutes outside of Phoenix. And so we walk in. I don't even remember showing a ticket. I'm sure we had to show a ticket or something. But the first thing was the lobby in that's where the merch was, if you wanted to buy some merch. And I will never forget how much merch they had for sale at this James Brown concert. I've never seen so much merch ever at a show. And I've been to a lot of shows. Those long, 8-foot tables? There had to have been about a dozen of those. I'm not exaggerating. Like a dozen of those. And there was everything you could possibly think of to buy at a show. Everything had either James Brown's name or his face or both. And I'm talking about anything. Obviously, you had T-shirts, but there was also the little, what do you call them, the little girly tank tops. There was drawers. There was James Brown drawers. There was James Brown panties. There were calendars. There was pencils and pens. There were hats, baseball hats, and also like the fishing caps or whatnot. There was face towels. There were bath towels, James Brown bath towels. There were even just like Xerox pictures of him that you could buy. There were laundry bags, which one that I bought for myself. Two different kinds. There was a mesh see-through, and then there was just the solid laundry bags of all things. But I mean, there was dice in there. There were whistles in there. There was a ton of different types of clothing. So when I say T-shirts, I mean there was like a variety of T-shirts. There was a variety of hats. There was a variety of just clothing in general. But I've never seen so much merch. Literally anything you could think of, they had it. They were selling it. and they were selling a lot of it. Um, like I said, it was very mild, very quiet. And when we finally go into the auditorium to sit down, it was sort of like a three-quarter round that surrounded the stage, and a very nice building, very very nice. You know, Sun City is an area of town where a lot of retired people, you know, live, and so you don't see a lot of chaos or anything out there. So the venue was very nice, completely carpeted, and showtime starts. Now, what I have to mention before I tell you about the actual show is I know a lot of people who are into DJing, a lot of people who are into hip hop culture, a lot of people who are into MCing, a lot of B-boys. I know a lot of these cats. I didn't see not one of them at the show. A lot of people claim they love James Brown. A lot of people who love what he did for music or whatnot. I didn't see not one. And I thought I was going to see all kinds of heads in there, but I didn't. 90% of that crowd were older white couples. That threw me for a loop. Now I know there's not a huge black population in Arizona, period. But I certainly was expecting to see a lot more than I did. I was expecting to see a lot more Latinos than I actually saw in there. There were a few, but even they were older couples. But 90% of that crowd were older white people. Um, Weird to me, you know. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where there's a huge black population, and if somebody like James Brown or anybody similar to James Brown was coming, you'd see our people representing heavy. But that wasn't the case. Anyway, showtime starts, and I think for the first 20 minutes of the show, his band just rocked out. I mean, just rocked out. It would have been worth paying the ticket just to see them for those 20 minutes. That's how incredible his band was. Incredible. And he finally came out after about 20 minutes. And let me tell you, we've all seen James Brown. I don't really have to get into the intimate details of, some of the stuff he did. He obviously wasn't moving around like he was in his earlier days. So you didn't see a whole lot of the crazy, super fast dancing and him going all over the stage. But it was incredible. It was incredible. Listen, I've been to a lot of shows. A ton of shows, starting from 1986 all the way up until now, 2022. And let me tell you, I would put that James Brown show in the top 3 shows I've ever seen in my life. It was incredible. And I couldn't believe how many people missed out on that. It was crazy. Like I said, other than Chino D, he and I were like the only two heads, like hip hop heads that were in that show that I saw. If there were anybody else there, I didn't see them. But I got a pretty good look at that crowd in there. And like I said, he performed for about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. And his band, again, I have to say, they were just incredible. I know when he died, I was thinking, man, I bet all kinds of people grabbed up his band members because, these other musicians had to know, how good these guys were. Especially everybody was just incredible, but especially the guitar, the drums, and some of the horns were just, this horn section was bananas. It was absolutely bananas. So, unfortunately, That was the only time I got to see James Brown. I'm glad I got to see him at least once, because there are a few artists that I never got to see because I was procrastinating or being lazy or wasn't, in town at the time, and then, they passed away and I never got to see them. People like Ray Charles. Ray Charles used to come to Phoenix, seemed like once a year, and I always would just kind of, flake out and go, oh, I'll catch him next time. I'll catch him next time. And unfortunately, I never got to see him. I think I was out of town when Teddy Pendergrass did his last tour, and if I remember correctly, he only did about 7, 8, 9 cities, something like that, and Phoenix was one of them. Oh, that one kills me. Isaac Hayes always seemed to. I used to go visit my hometown of Milwaukee every summer, and it seemed like right when I would leave, I would go around the same time of year, which was the first week in August. And right at the end of my trip, it seems like he would be performing there. That happened like a few times. I never got to see, Isaac Hayes, and there's a few others out there, and then there's a few on my bucket list that I've never seen, but I'm hoping I get to see them one day. People like Jeffrey Osborne and Freddie Jackson. Never got to see Freddie. And the top of my list is Stephanie Mills. Man, I want to see Stephanie so bad. Stephanie and Al Green are probably, at the top of my bucket list of shows to see. But anyway, so yeah, that's my James Brown concert experience. Nothing crazy happened, but like I said, the most memorable things about that night was the merchandise that was being sold there, and the crowd. And I remember there was, the part of the show where he drops to the floor and they put the cape on him, and it was kind of funny because somebody ran to the stage with their camera and they took a picture real quick, and then somebody else ran up there and they took a picture. Next thing you know, it's just like ping, 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 all of these people running up and taking pictures of James Brown, and he actually was playing the keyboard, while he was up there at some points of the show. It was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, that's my James Brown experience. I miss the brother. Wish he was still here, feeding us all this funky music, all this good R&B and soul music. But yeah, take a minute and tell me about if you've ever seen James Brown, and if so, tell me what was memorable about that show. All right, so that was Story Time with Daryl D. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys next time, and y'all keep being safe out there, all right? Until next time, this is Daryl D. Peace.